Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Tarot Show with Ashala here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channel, coming to you live every Saturday to have a look at the upcoming week. So this week we're looking at November 16th to the 23rd. What a week! What a whirlwind week we're in, folks. Business as usual for us here in this community, right? So much to look at, so much to talk about. And as always, it feels like these readings, I'm noticing some people saying last week's show was spot on exactly for them in their lives. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for that, Gypsy Fairy. I know for myself as well that, as I've said before, having a look together as a group, a community of like-minded, like-hearted people, looking at where we're all at and noticing there's commonalities, there's things that we're sharing, there's perspectives we're sharing for sure, intel. And also there's personal experiences that we're all going through kind of simultaneously. So that's part of what I love to share with you here on this show. And before we get started, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channel. You can find us here and make sure to check out all the other offerings. If you would like to book a personal one-on-one session with me, here they are. You can use the coupon code on the banner that's across the bottom and receive a 10% discount. I am taking bookings in this upcoming week. And these are sessions over Zoom that I record for you as well. So you will have a permanent copy of our session. So without further ado, let's lay out some cards for this week. And maybe just share in the comments how last week was for you. I mean, we've just had another great big giant full moon. Is it my imagination, or are they bigger and brighter than ever before? I mean, that's another topic and more rabbit holes. But we certainly know that I feel like the information, what MEG brings, the astrology information, that used to be information that was only available to the elites. And now that we have all of these different resources, these different systems to look deeply into what's going on in the world, what's going on in the cosmos, knowing more about these cycles within cycles, and just having so much of that research at our fingertips, it allows so many of us to find our alignment within the big picture of it all. So I don't know, for some reason, it feels important to see ourselves this week in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things. Well, we start off, I'm going to expand the card view here. There we go. We start off the week pretty good position for the house of Aries. Aries is our ego, our personality. And, I feel like so many of our egos have been taking quite a beating, haven't they? Yes, we're here to learn to surrender the ego to some extent, but we don't want to surrender it to the point of just losing ourselves. And this feels like a really strong comeback in terms of how confident and self-assured we're going to feel this week, how grounded we're going to feel. So we had all that energy around the full moon in Taurus, and maybe coming to some new understandings about our finances, how we're planning for our future now that things have shifted, right? So we're starting off in a really good way this week, everybody. 9 of Pentacles is the sovereign independent. and that's in the house of Aries, the house of the self. Okay. Well, very interesting juxtaposition here, because in the house of Taurus, which is really about um, enjoying things, enjoying our physical reality, enjoying the luxuries of the good quality of life. We talked about that in the As Above, So Below show on Tuesday. It's interesting because it's almost like we are collectively saying, you know what? Let's strategize differently. Let's budget and not necessarily go without, but really, again, there's this pulling into um, just spending differently. I don't know what that's about, but it feels like there's something about tightening the belt a little bit in terms of just what we're prioritizing and how we are budgeting our finances. So, also considering that as this transition that we've been praying for and waiting for, it continues to unfold, we may go through some period of, I'm going to say, lack or loss, but more of a disruption in having access to all the luxurious things that we normally take for granted. So again, there's a little bit of a suggestion here to, yeah, prepare yourself for some temporary disruption in that area. But look at this card beside it. It doesn't feel like we're really psyched out by this now. We're not like afraid. We're actually, in a way, looking forward to it, is what I'm hearing. Like we're welcoming this new relationship to money. Okay. 6 of Wands in the house of Gemini. A lot of this is a victory card. 6 of Wands is a victory card, and it also relates to, kind of spreading the good news. He goes out, this character in the victory card, the 6 of Wands, he goes out and he basically, puts this laurel wreath on on the spike and parades it around. So there's something very victorious. There's something both collectively and personally about claiming your victory this week, and also really honoring the hard work necessary to get there, because the victory card is about overcoming a lot of little hurdles. And this could be a good week just to recap, even in the last 6 months, about all the hurdles that you've successfully overcome. I love that. I love that. It's kind of like our victory chant. And if we don't toot our own horn, then who will, right? So it's a little bit of this. Okay. Boy, oh boy. Never a dull moment. So you see this card. We know this one, 10 of Swords. It's in the house of home. It's in the house of home. So sanctuary. Is sanctuary going to be really relaxing this week? Does that look like relaxing? Well, let's just say, I often say about this card that we need to think less and literally work in our bodies more. So I say, instead of overthinking, go and get some acupuncture. I know it's ridiculous, but it's kind of, in a way, the visual of this, right? It's not about torturing ourselves. It's kind of like learning to walk away from things. And this could be something to do with feeling not necessarily uncomfortable in your home sanctuary, but wanting things to change close to home, and they aren't changing fast enough for you. And instead of spinning your wheels and just going around in frustration loops, they're saying, just chillax this week. It's like you're lowering your expectations, not so much the quality of them, but the timing of them. So something to do with home, sanctuary, family, close family, where you're surrendering to the greater timing and not taking that personally. Boy, that really makes sense to me this week. Yes, it does. Just going to check in with people. Hi, Lori, and hi, Angela. So many familiar faces. Early morn. Corinne, Frederick, Ravina. Lovely to see you. Ricky, hi. Okay, let's keep going. We have another 10 right beside that one. Okay, so you let go of trying to control the people around you. You're wanting things to be a certain way in your home, in your sanctuary, in your family, and you kind of give up and go, I surrender. This is the surrendering, trying to figure it out with your mind. And look at this. Right after that comes more love, more sanctuary, more positive feedback, more emotional happiness in the house of Leo, which is the incoming possibilities than you anticipated. Yeah. So a greater victory in terms of home and family and how comfortable you feel, your sanctuary. A greater victory is closer at hand than you think. So let me know in the comments if that's something you're going through. Are you going through things with your family? I mean, how many of us have in these last few years, right? Are you just tired of, beating the dead horse in terms of it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to change? And then look at this. Just when you give up, it does. So interesting. All right. And in the house of Virgo. Virgo is our daily life, our habits, and our health. What have we got here? The healer. The healer in the house of health. Temperance angel, among other things, is about coming into balance and equilibrium. And what do we know about health and healing? Healing is basically restoring balance in body, mind, and soul, right? When in different indigenous traditions around the world, the shamanic healers, and even in different religious traditions, like it was seen that a lot of our illnesses stemmed from disharmony in our minds, which stemmed from disharmony in our souls. So they would say we're going to heal the soul first, and the healing of the rest will follow. While this feels like there has been a tremendous amount of soul work done, especially I'm getting in the last 10 weeks, in the last 10 months, even in the last 10 days. And this is the equilibrium is coming. So for those of you that have been feeling quite a lot of intense energy in your physical health as a result of just how fast you're evolving with all these changes mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and so on, this week could bring, I want to say, without you really trying too hard, it just could be that you find yourself feeling more balanced. And won't that be welcome? I'm so grateful to see that in that position. Okay, let's go to relationship. Interesting. So interesting. I laid that card in the house of relationship and I heard the word guru in my mind. So this is part of the reading process. Yes, we read the cards. There's meanings to each one of them, and each position that it's laid in means something. So I kind of put all that together. But I also am sort of observing or sensing intuitively, allowing with this heart-centered perspective information to come through that's going to be valuable for all of us. And I heard the word guru with regards to this position. And so it made me think of relationship experts, you know, that it could be a time where we are looking to, I want to say, kind of learn a bit, be educated, evolve a bit. So it could be that some interesting course um, around developing relationship skills shows up for you this week. And for each of us, that's going to be different, right? Even at different phases of our life, there's going to be new information, but I think there's going to be something to learn this week, a new strategy around relationships, a new way of maybe doing some healing work in your relationship, but not just not therapy so much as learning new skills or learning, new relationship strategies. And if you're single, it's also perhaps learning more about how to prepare yourself for your next relationship. So that's very interesting. All right. We're at the halfway point here, and I'm just going to take a minute to show you what we've got on display here. So this is let me see if I can add this here. Yeah, November Shungite sale. And this is with Ascension Organites, of course. Beyond Mystic Shungite bracelets are 40% off. The discount is applied at the checkout, valid until December 1st. So I just think these are beautiful looking bracelets. They're very, it looks like they could be both masculine or feminine. And shungite is such a powerful protective stone, a powerful grounding stone. So look forward to taking advantage of that sale. All right, let's keep going here. What is our next card going into the house of Scorpio? The sun is still in the sign of Scorpio for the next few days. I think it switches on the 21st or 22nd. You have to check with Meg about that. So we're coming into the close of this Scorpio season. We're also coming into, I remember that it's been foretold, this whole thing about Pluto and Capricorn, and it's its final pass through. I think it's the 22nd that shifts. So all of that is happening this week, right? So what do we know about Scorpio? Well, it's a very deep, very complex, and I want to say, transformative sign. It's like where we go through some of the deepest shadow work, some of the deepest processes in ourselves. And then, of course, that Capricorn and Pluto that Meg's been talking about is all about, really cleaning the swamp, like bringing the underbelly of the power dominant systems that have been controlling us. Yeah, basically deep state and the cabal, and like bringing that out in the open and wrestling with it, right? So this card, Five of Wands, is wrestling with things energetically. Now look at this. I'm noticing we've got the Five of Wands here and the Five of Pentacles here. So what I'm hearing, it's like, how do you really finally, like, it's like a parasitic energy, right? How do you finally remove the parasitic energy? You have to starve it out. So there's something about, we're wrestling still. We're in the final 5 weeks of wrestling with this energy. And potentially even it's going to be a lot of heavy wrestling still for another 5 weeks as we watch this great transition out of the old system. It's underway, right? But we know the fight isn't over. It's not a time to kind of, it's definitely time to declare our victory, but it's not a time to just sit back and do nothing, right? So this is energetic. This is staying on top of, applying pressure where needed and wrestling with this energy, that old Pluto in Capricorn energy, right? That controlling, power dominant energy that is definitely siphoning off energetically the rest of us. And we're starving it out. And part of how we do that is by not getting like easily lulled into being rescued, especially financially. It's where we're like, no, thanks, I'll wait. I'll wait. Yeah, no, I'm not taking the first thing, the first buyout option, if it means compromising on a lot of what the bigger goals, the bigger agenda is. And if we wait, if we say no, we're going to hold out for the big win, we're not like so we're not so in need of instant gratification. Our egos are strong. We can wait it out, right? It's kind of like the siege on the castle, and we're going, no, we're not going to give in. We're going to wait it out. That's interesting. Very interesting. Another 5. Woohoo! Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit of numerology here for a second. I'm just going to slide can slide it down a wee bit. So another 5 of swords up there in the house of Sag. Okay, so 5s, the number 5 is about chaos and change. And when you get 3 of the same number in a spread, it is what's called kind of like a gift or a blessing. So we are being blessed with really having developed the strength to wrestle, starve it out, hold it, wait it out, and not just bite the hook. So this is where different media, different players on the dark side are going to keep trying to bait us to get us to fight and exhaust ourselves, right? Or to take the first, oh, we'll give you all this. And this is where we're saying there's a blessing because we've developed enough strength to not fall for those hooks anymore. Yeah, this is pretty political this week, right? This is a lot of our, I'm just pointing out like those 3 5s and the number 6 here is suggesting that, we're holding out. We've developed the maturity and the tenacity to not be easily led around or intimidated. Pretty cool. I'm like, high five, everybody. Okay. And whoa, yeah. Okay, so this is on the political global agenda, everybody. This is the House of Capricorn. You could look at it as your own personal self-actualization, but I feel like the last little bit here, we've been getting a lot of a collective read for all of us, and this follows suit with that. 7 of Cups is the illusion card or confusion card. And it is where it's going to be still quite hard to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. There's a lot of they're saying everything like until the dust settles, until the fog clears, it's hard to get a real clear take on what's happening. And that again, this wait it out. Don't jump on the first narrative. Don't jump on have we learned, and this is something I talk about a lot because I'm a longtime truther, 30 plus years. And the one thing that I know when I chat among the longtime truthers are we nod our heads and go, oh yeah, well, not everything that comes by our intel is necessarily, I think there's truth in all of it, but it doesn't always serve us well to bite it hook, line, and sinker and say, yeah, I believe all of it. So we're having to learn this discernment we're having to like slow down and go, yeah, we're not going to be clear. It's not going to be super clear, but we've grown accustomed to that. We've grown actually quite resilient. And, the proof is always in the pudding, in the greater long-term result as things start to, it's like people talk about what they're going to do, but when they actually follow through, when we actually see the result of that. So I'm not saying that false promises have been made. What I'm saying is that the sorting out of how some of this stuff is going to come into actualization is far from clear yet. So what we can do to support that process is to not run charging towards our political heroes going, give me all the stuff, like I want it now, hurry up, I've been waiting so long. Like if we put pressure on that, it's sort of like what I guess you could say what the White Hats need from us is our resilience, our patience, our like, yeah, we're not going to easily be like easy to manipulate, basically. So this is very interesting, right? I'm going to just check over here in the comments and see how some of this is landing for all of you. Is this making sense? So Becky is saying, will the RV happen this week? And yeah, thank you for your question, Becky. I think what I'm trying to express here is that maybe we want to pause needing the result of that. It's just a suggestion, but the suggestion is maybe we just pause our demands and let the dust settle and let the players that are stepping into the positions give them some breathing room, right? It's almost like, yeah, I'm getting this feeling like they're saying, yeah, massive surgery is happening here. We can't all be like breathing down the necks of everybody. It's like we have to keep an eye on what's happening and continue to apply pressure around making sure the most important thing is not getting the instant result, like the gratification, but making sure that the overall integrity stays in alignment, right? And we might have to wait a little longer. Now, you want to ask about timelines. Of course, there's no way to accurately predict this. They're always changing, but I would say this is more months than weeks. And yet, this dust may settle, this fog may clear even in the next week, and then we might see the beginnings of something. So what I'm trying to say, it's not that it's an either or, it will or it won't. It's more of we need to say, regardless, there's the greater win is going to be making sure that we stay on track with the larger, I want to say, overall change. All right. Oh, another cups here. So this cups, 8 of cups, is in the house of, future. Well, it's the house of Aquarius. So Aquarius, among other things, is related to futuristic technology, AI. It's related to our friends and our allies. And so it's funny because what I'm hearing is the jury's out. The jury's still out on how AI, the role that AI and future technology is going to play. And again, it's one of those areas, it's a pocket, just like any other pocket, where a lot of, let's just say, a lot of the darker debris can settle in that pocket. Like it's really hard to ensure. It's almost like the AI realm, that virtual realm, it's really hard to monitor what's happening in it. So it's going to always be a bit of a attractor for the dark energies, right? It's like it's because it's not tangible, it's not in 3D. You can't go and look at something. It's virtual. So some of the technology is tangible, is literal, but a lot of what's happening is in the virtual realm, and that's really hard to stay on top of, to monitor and keep track of. So I'm getting that there's some way that we're kind of going, yeah, I don't know if I want to jump into that camp too quickly. So we're exercising, I want to say, a reasonable, healthy amount of discernment and caution going forward here this week, and maybe even in the next month or two. Because again, this transition phase is still, we're still a bit vulnerable going through it, is what I'm getting. Okay. Da, 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 final card. Oh, well, these two go together so perfectly. Our Hermit, who's the wise elder, I mean, he means other things, of course, right? I know Janine puts this card meaning different things when she's doing her spreads. And again, this is not a right or wrong. It's just that she is answering certain kinds of questions, and she's developed a format where these particular cards speak to that in a certain way. So it's a way that she can observe and draw her analysis. And I'm going with, in this instance, a little bit more of the classic interpretation of the Hermit. So our Hermit often represents a wisdom of elderhood, maturity. Similar, it's a number 9, just like the 9 of Pentacles, and the 9s are about kind of like coming full circle, right? The whole 9 yards, the final stage, the final step, the synthesis, the gathering of everything. And it is a maturing, waiting for your result, again, being, just not quite so in need of instant gratification, like being willing to kind of go the high road, go the long haul, and a wisdom and a maturity that has really been earned. We've earned this. And to me, when I see the Hermit heading towards this sovereign independent, and the sovereign independent kind of looking up at the Hermit, it's almost like we're in touch with our higher selves, the wisdom of our, maybe future selves. And that, because Pisces is the subconscious mind, so our future selves could be really giving us, holding this lamplight of perspective this week, so that we don't lose sight in all of this kind of swirling fog and dust cloud here, the illusion. There's going to be some clarity. And he's across from this Temperance angel over here. So really beautiful divine intervention this week, everybody. Like the healing energies, your higher self feels like there's a lot of support from the interdimensionals in that way. So lovely. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay. And our final card to go in the center is the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. Just going to kind of go up here, have a look around. Yeah. Aw. I am hearing the anger that goes along with stop the waiting. I'm hearing the anger, and I really want to bring your attention to the fact that we are not waiting and with non-action. Waiting is not a passive thing. Waiting is an active thing. We are waiting and working on the new paradigm. We are waiting and continuing to apply pressure in the right places. We are waiting and developing our sovereign autonomy and our maturity. We are waiting and the alliance are working day and night. This is not, we're not just waiting like victims. Okay, this is like high activation waiting. And I hope you can hear like the honor of that. It's an honor to hold high frequency in, and it's interesting. I'm being shown the birth process, right? When we give birth, and for those of you that have given birth, we get angry at some point, right? It's like, get this done. I want this being out of me, like enough already. I've waited long enough, especially when people have to go into labor for, the challenge of hours and sometimes days. And yet there is nothing else to be done without some extreme intervention. Usually, in many cases, it's so beyond worth the wait. Like, I mean, it's, yeah. So I hope that that helps a little bit. I really do hear that there's a lot of strong feelings. Yeah, there's a lot of strong feelings, right? And yet, thank you, Frederick. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lupo 5. Thank you, universe, that your timing is beautiful. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is not, I definitely never recommend waiting passively. Never. I don't live that way, and I don't advocate for that. I advocate for waiting actively. Yeah. So yeah. And I can hear what you're saying about, I will not do this in another 4 years. It has to end. No more placating. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And again, this is this, the end is in here. The end is inside. And the end is in knowing that you're focusing on the win. And this always takes me back to the analogy. Some of you have heard me say this before, but it's the analogy of going, I used to mountain bike in my younger days, and you'd go down the hill, and the counsel was, don't look at the hole. Don't look at the hole that you're trying to avoid, right? Don't stare at it and fixate on it and just try to strategize how to get out of its way. Look at the way around the hole, because if you stare at the hole that you're trying to avoid, guess what? You're going in it. It's sort of like, what we used to say, Murphy's Law. Like, the message is, you look at the path around the obstacle. Keep your eye on the path around the obstacle. Don't get sucked into fixating on the obstacle. Yeah. Yeah. Clojo, this has been in the works for hundreds, even thousands of years. We asked to be here for this. Yeah. And I think the politics will change. It's changing ever since 2016. And there's, again, what I've noticed is, in terms of rapid evolution, and you can say, oh, well, how's that going to solve all these terrible things that are going on for humanity? How does rapid evolution solve that? Well, if we can't visualize the way around the hole, and it's never just getting rid of the obstacle with the same tactics it uses on us. Like, that is low frequency battle, and we're going to just end up becoming that which we're trying to destroy. So it's the holding out for it's not passively waiting for change. It is the forcing the change to come in a higher frequency than just the same type of battle over and over again. Yeah, thanks, Radiant One. Waiting actively. So, yeah, yeah. So any positive energy sent is highly appreciated. And yeah, just looking at all your comments and feeling the immensity of where we are. This incredible portal that's been going on, of course, as we're pointing out, for a really, really long time. And yet, I feel like I'm being shown now, as a closing remark, I'm being shown those points. If you've ever done any marathons as a runner or any other type of marathon, and there's those points, and including giving birth, right? There's those points where you go, I can't do it. I'm done. That's this, right? I can't do it. And I remember talking to the nurse in the hospital when I was giving birth to my first child, and after after it was over, we were having a chat, and she was sort of laughing with me and saying, "Oh yeah, when we hear the person say, 'I can't do it,' we know it's just about to happen." Right? They're like, "Oh." I mean, obviously, some people kind of tap out really soon on in the game, but overall, there's this point where we're at that kind of breaking point, and it's it's sort of like a sign that things have gone up a level. And we don't see a leveling up card this week, so let's hope that comes next week. And I don't mean that there isn't progress. I'm just saying we're not seeing the gateway in this spread. There's no gateway cards here. So we had a gateway, but we level up continually, right? So this week feels more like a week where we're holding the frequency of surrendering in some ways to our agendas of timing, not getting caught in this illusion and getting sucked back into the lower frequency, and holding strong in our maturity and our sovereignty. So, really actually a great week, because it feels like we have the strength to accomplish this without it really being that painful, unless we want to focus on the hole we're trying to avoid. So let us sign off for now, and I will see you next week. Before I go, I'm just going to pull up these reminders so you can book a reading with me. As I said, I've got some spaces in this upcoming week. And also, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel and the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel. So, have a beautiful week, everyone. Blessings to you all, and I look forward to seeing you here on Tuesday with Meg, and then again next Saturday. Bye for now.